Okay, so we are working on the day one notes. Day one notes hopefully is a lot of review and just kind of going over some definitions that we have here. So starting it off, we're talking about variables. So variables are symbols, which we typically use letters. So typically letters. There we go. That are used to represent an unknown value. So we really could use any symbol. In math, we do generally typically use letters. That's just the way it's gone. It's a little easier to write the letter X than it is to write a star symbol over and over and over again. So that's why we do generally typically use letters for it. A numerical expression is one or more numbers combined with operation symbols. So operation symbols would simply be your adding, subtracting, multiplying, and your dividing. So numerical means number. So those are purely just numbers, no letters in there whatsoever. So numerical expression, one or more numbers. Algebraic, however, is one or more numbers and variables combined with operation symbols. So numerical expression means it's purely just numbers. Algebraic expression is where those variables start coming into play. All right. Reminder, whenever you're multiplying things together, those things being multiplied are called factors. So for example, 2 times 3 equals 6. 2 and 3 are your factors because they are being multiplied. 6 is your product. And then the other thing to keep in mind is your factors can be variables. Factors are not just purely numerical. They can also be variables. And then down here with our exponents, this is read as x to the nth power. Our powers consist of bases. So in that example, x is your base, n is your exponent, and the invisible 1 is your coefficient. So that's not just x to the nth power. It really is 1 x to the nth power. Well, I got the number 4 in the brain. It's really 1 times x to the nth power. Bases can also be numerical. So for example, 4 to the 5th. So 4 would be your base. 5 is your exponent. So bases and exponents can be numbers or they can be variables. Okay. So we can translate back and forth. We can write things algebraically. We can also write them verbally. So for example, we can write this as the sum of x and 5. So here's the verbal, the sum of x and 5. Here's how I would write it algebraically, x plus 5. That phrase right there, though, the sum, that tells us to put parentheses around it. So that's why I have parentheses x plus 5. So let's see here. N less than 9 is my verbal. Algebraically, I would write that as 9 and then minus n. We'll talk about why that word than right there, that's a special word. The product of negative 5 and y cubed algebraically would be negative 5 y to the third 21 plus 3x could be 21 increased by 3 times x. Again, there's more words we could use there, but that's just one example. We can also have some fractions in there. So like this would be half x plus 1. So any algebraic expression can be written verbally. And we like to go back and forth. So next we have, when we are translating back and forth, which is what we're going to be practicing with these notes, we have certain words that are called flipping words. So what that means is what's written in front of the flipping phrase comes after the operation. And that will make a little more sense in a second. So our flipping words, what these do is whatever is written in front of that flipping phrase actually will come after the operation. So it makes them flip. So our first word is the word from. So for example, 3 subtracted from 6 would be written as 6 minus 3. So 3 is written before the flipping phrase, which in this case is subtracted from. So 3 gets written after the subtraction sign. So whatever comes before the phrase comes after the sign. Into, so 3 divided into 15 would be 15 and then divided by 3. Or if you wanted to write it as a fraction, 15 divided by 3. Okay. All right. Then the word than. So 7 less than 12. We would write that as 12 minus 7. So that phrase less than. And then 2, 7 added to 10 would become 10 plus 7. So from, into, than, and to. Those are our 4 flipping phrases. So when we see those words, you got to remember whatever's in front of it is going to come after it. So let's take a look at our keywords. So our keywords that tell us we are going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. Now, adding and subtracting have more keywords than our multiplication or our division do. So let's go ahead and get started. So adding, we've got plus, sum, added to, increased by, more than, total, all together, and combined. So again, to, than, those are 2 of our flipping words. So with those phrases, we would flip whatever comes before it would actually be written at the end after the plus sign. And then one word I've been seeing more and more showing up is the word exceeds. And exceeds just simply means more than. So like the cost of hotel A exceeds the cost of hotel B by $10. Means that it would cost $10 more to stay at hotel A than it does at hotel B. So exceeds just simply means more than. All right. For subtraction, we got minus, subtract, Oh, that's not how you spell it. Subtracted from, decreased by, less than, reduced by, diminished by, difference, take away. Those all tell us subtraction. And again, we have two flipping words there, the subtracted from and the less than. Those are where we generally see the flipping words as far as subtraction goes. Multiplication, division do not have very many words to them. Actually, multiplication has more ways of showing that it's multiplied than actual words that tell you to multiply. So if you have two variables next to each other, that is telling you to multiply them. They could put a little star in there, or sometimes they'll put a multiplication dot. We generally don't write X's anymore. So try to get out of that habit if that's what you do. You can use parentheses around one of them. You can use parentheses around both of them. As I said, lots of ways to show multiplication, but very few words. So we got times, multiply, product. That's pretty much it. Oh, and the word of. So like, for example, 3/4 of X means you would multiply the two of them together. There are a couple of special ones, like, for example, twice, double, triple, dot, dot, dot. So that's telling you you're going to multiply, but you're multiplying by a specific number. So twice and double, you're multiplying by 2. Triple, you're multiplying by 3. Quadruple, you're multiplying times 4. So those are still telling you multiply. So that falls under that category, but it's telling you to multiply by a specific number. It's giving you one of your factors. And then division, divided by, and quotient. That's pretty much it. We do have some special ones, just like with multiplying. We got half, third, fourth. Those are telling you divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 4. And then one special reminder here. X divided by 2 is the same as 1/2 X. A lot of people tend to forget that. So X divided by 2 is the same as writing 1/2 X. Doesn't matter which way you write it, it's telling you to do the same exact things.